Good evening, visitors and colleagues. Please be seated. Oh, thank you. The first business of the council this evening is to elect a mayor until the appointment of a successor at the annual meeting of the council in 2024. But before I ask for nominations, since you have bored me for a year, I shall now bore you with a short speech. When the former leader of the council twisted my arm to become mayor, I was very reluctant because I enjoyed keeping a critical eye on the cabinet as chair of strategic planning and the environment. Subsequently, however, I've grown to have a great deal of respect for the institution of mayor. And despite my initial reservations, I've quite enjoyed the role. Dressing up is not really my thing, but I was impressed at how delighted the children always were to have a photo with the mayor in his robes. And even adults cannot resist this. Of course, it is not John Burney that they wanted to be photographed with. It's whoever is in the robes. To me, this shows that the historic institution of mayor, which is independent of political parties and their policies, remains a valuable feature of British life that helps to bind our communities together. A force for stability and respect for tradition, traditional symbols and values. Throughout Hertfordshire, mayors frequently get together with the great and the good at civic events and ceremonies, and they always look resplendent in their chains of office. So a gathering of mayors in their bling is humorously referred to as the chain gang. My year in the chain gang has been particularly busy. Mainly, this is because of the royal family. As is traditional, it all began with an invitation to a garden party at Buckingham Palace. As is also the norm at these events, before I could get carried away with social climbing, I got well and truly soaked in a thunderstorm. After this reminder that our weather has no respect for would-be members of the establishment, I had to deal with the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The actual Jubilee day was a long, hot day when His Worship really had to earn his corn. It started at 8:30 in the morning with me planting a tree in Adeyfield for the Queen's canopy, assisted by the High Sheriff of Hertfordshire. Then opening the party in the park, along with the Deputy Lord Lieutenant. And it finished up with an exhausted mayor lighting the Queen's beacon at 10 o'clock at night. Sadly, these celebrations were shortly followed by the death of Her Majesty, requiring the mayor to host our local MPs and other guests at a wreath-laying ceremony and signing a book of condolence at the Forum, and later hosting the High Sheriff at the local proclamation of King Charles III. As the first citizen of decorum, I then welcomed Prince Edward to Ashridge, where he wanted, somewhat tardily one might think, to plant another tree for his late mother's Queen's canopy. Finally, the coronation of King Charles III was followed by a Thanksgiving service with the Lord Lieutenant at St. Albans Cathedral, and later by several copycat services throughout the county. All of this took place along with unique duties like the dedication of a memorial garden in Gadebridge Park for the victims of the COVID pandemic, plus the regular fixtures on the Mayor's calendar, such as the Halloween party in the Old Town, the Remembrance Day parade, escorting the new High Sheriff on a tour of the borough, and of course, chairing full meetings of the council, where I'm pleased to say that I had to use my gavel only once in anger. The victim of my gavel bashing shall remain nameless. And let us hope, for my successor's sake, that the newly elected members remain as well behaved as the majority of those that I had to deal with. Just in case my successor is looking forward to an easy life as mayor, I have to warn his worship that even in normal times, there will be a constant torrent of invitations from the chain gang. Throughout the year, to attend prize givings, sports events, charity functions, civic services, civic dinners, and other bigwig events. All of this activity would be impossible without the support of a strong backup team and an enthusiastic deputy mayor. And here I must both thank and commiserate with Councillor Alan Johnson, my right-hand man, who, because of the change in political control, will miss out on becoming mayor. Well, that's democracy, folks. I also would like to thank most sincerely my officer team, and especially its leader, Cassie O'Neill. Richard Kiff, the mayor's attendant and chauffeur, played a key role too, advising me on protocol and always getting me to events on time and in style. I'll draw a veil over the state I was sometimes in on the way back. But every time we arrived at an event in the mayor's limousine, I was conscious of the admiration of the other mayors, including the chairman of the county council, who have no such transport. I was frequently told in envious tones that Dacorum must be a wonderfully managed council to have such a well-run and well-financed mayoral setup. Although it is not my place to presume to advise the new administration, I hope this respect for decorum will be remembered and capitalized on when it comes, for example, to JSP negotiations or when competing for centrally administered infrastructure funds. Now, please do not let me give you the impression that being the mayor is always a life of cakes and ale filled with pomp and circumstance. In meeting so many residents throughout Dacorum, it became increasingly apparent to me that there are wide differences in levels of prosperity within our local community. It was clear that certain areas of the borough suffered more deprivation than others, and that COVID had exacerbated these differences. For that reason, I chose Dacorum Community Trust as my charity during my year of office. This small charity, with a turnover of only about 70,000 per annum, exists to help in a practical way those who are suffering extreme financial crisis or homelessness. The charity gives out shopping vouchers and gas and electric credits to the needy, as well as furniture, including white goods, and even toys for the children of broken homes. As Mayor, I am proud that my team and I have been able to raise almost £7,500 during my year of office for this worthwhile cause. Happily, it also became clear to me that the Mayor and his team were not alone in Dacorum. There are many, both secular and religious charities, whose aim is to alleviate the poverty that is sadly growing in the lower reaches of our community. For example, having given out awards in January to 50 charities that had helped with the Rotary Club Santa's sleigh collections, I was astonished to be asked to repeat the process for 50 more charities in April. This means that the Rotary Club alone has given out about £20,000 to good causes in 2023. In summary, I submit that the Mayor represents the human face of the Council and is not only widely respected in Dacorum and across the county, but also acts as part of the glue that binds society together. Therefore, as a council, we should value this historic office and all its essential trappings, if for no other reason than the effective way that each mayor can and does support the charitable efforts that I have mentioned. Finally, may I commend all those other officers and councillors who've given me some support as mayor, and I trust that incumbents who follow me in this important office will enjoy an even greater amount of support. Thank you. I can't believe this kind of green stuff. We now turn to the first item proper on the agenda, and may I have your nominations for Mayor, please? Councillor Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to try and use our new technology, so please bear with me. I would like to nominate Councillor William Allen as Mayor. William would be an excellent choice for Mayor of Dacorum. Known locally as Woody by his many friends and acquaintances, if we had a Mayor of Boxmoor, he would be first in line to hold the position. There are very few people in the village of Boxmoor who don't know William. He's been active in the community for over 20 years. Before coming here tonight, I witnessed a girls' cricket match on the moor while walking my dog. Our cricket greens are often filled with boys and girls playing evenings and weekends. The great game of cricket is thriving in Boxmoor, thanks in a large part to William's time and commitment over many years as a coach and player. He has led litter picks, including encouraging groups of young people to look after the moor on a sunny bank holiday and take their litter home. His most important contribution, though, must be the tireless hours spent in important surgeries with residents at the Post Office Arms in Puller Road, also known as the Patch. Many a thorny issue has been resolved over a well-pulled pint in that corner of Boxmoor. Campaigning with William is a joy, but it does take twice as long as with anyone else, because we can only take 10 steps or so before we are stopped by someone who just wants a quick word in his ear. This would be a well-deserved appointment, and I know that Councillor William Allen will serve the borough with integrity, poise and humour. He will be an asset to Dacorum, and I look forward to following his activities throughout the year and promise not to take too many notes to share with his mates down the Patch. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hobson. Do I have a seconder?
I would like to second the nomination. I'm delighted to second the nomination of Councillor William Allen as Mayor of Dacorum. I've known William for more than 10 years, and he has always demonstrated a strong commitment to Liberal Democrat and community values. He has a passion for Dacorum, where he grew up and has lived with his wife Annie since 1999 and raised his family. William has worked in both the public and voluntary sectors with young people, and in particular, those in need or experiencing difficulties. After a number of years as the Chief Executive Officer of Cross Hearts Community Counselling and Signpost Counselling, 5 years ago, William followed his passion for history and trained as a teacher. He is now the sixth form lead and history teacher at Roman Fields here in Hemel Hempstead. For those of you that don't know it, Roman Fields provides education for pupils who have an education and healthcare plan. Most of its pupils are autistic, and it has won awards for its work with the National Autistic Society and was graded outstanding by Ofsted just 3 years ago. William was elected to Dacorum Borough Council in 2019, along with a lot of us. He has served on a number of committees, including Health in Dacorum, where he's championed better access to healthcare locally. He's the chair of AVID, Arts Venue in Dacorum, and he's recently joined the Board of Community Action Dacorum as a trustee, where he supports diverse local charities that operate in the borough. I believe that William will be a fantastic representative for the council in his role as mayor, and I hope you will all support his nomination for the role.
Thank you, Councillor Symington. Councillor William Allen has been proposed and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Councillor William, is it therefore agreed that Councillor William Allen be mayor? I declare that Councillor William Allen has been elected to the office of mayor.
To the office of Mayor for the Borough of Dacorum, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties it entails, according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Borough of Dacorum. I would like to present this badge to the retiring Mayor as a token of the Council's regard. Thank you very much, Sally and Claire, for your kind words. And also to John for some very good and welcome guidance in the office that I've now taken up. The robe weighs us slightly heavier than I expected after your speech. It is an enormous honour to be elected Mayor of Dacorum. But if I may, I would like to start by being shamelessly partisan. We have just witnessed a momentous transition, a seismic shift. It is very pleasing as a member of Boxmoor Cricket Club to take the robes of a long-standing member of Hemel Hempstead Town Cricket Club. As Sally has said, it's especially an honour being Dacorum born and bred, although I think Claire might call it born and brewed. Dacorum was my childhood home, and I've spent the majority of my adult life living in Dacorum, and a good deal of my working life serving the residents of Dacorum. And I look forward to continuing doing so in this new guise I find myself in. I'm proud to be the first Liberal Mayor of Dacorum, and probably of its preceding entities. In my journey from resident to a representative, there have been many people who need acknowledgement. Don't worry, I'm not going to do an Oscar speech and name them all. However, one person does need particular note. Jeff Lawrence, our former president of the Hemel Hempstead Liberal Democrats, kept the fragile flame of liberalism flying in Dacorum for many years, when a night such as now would have been unthinkable. Many of us have such role models, and our work rests on their foundations. He will be smiling down on us from above. As elected members, it's humbling to enjoy the belief and expectation of residents. We're here because of them, and they turn out in large numbers for us. And so it is an honour to serve them now as first citizen. But we also wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the support and encouragement of many others, colleagues, neighbours, friends, and last but not least, family. Thank you to all of you for the support and encouragement that you provide and that sustains what can be often a busy and fraught life in public office. It is a privilege to serve you all and to serve Dacorum. Thank you. I'd just like to add the arrangements for the Mayor's charity this year, picking up on what Councillor Burney has outlined about the state of charitable organisations in Dacorum, and with cost of living, the need there is for supporting multiple charities, including DCT. We would like to introduce a resilience fund which can raise money for various charities, particularly focusing on those that need the support the most. Alan Johnson had chosen the Scouts to be supported as his charity, had he been sitting where I am now, and we will be working with the Scouts to make sure that they benefit as much as anybody from those arrangements. So, I now formally propose that the Council tender to Councillor John Burney their most cordial thanks for the admirable manner in which he has discharged the duties of the office of Mayor of the Borough of Dacorum during the past year, and place on record their appreciation of the energy and sound judgment which distinguished his actions during that period. That the seal of the Council be affixed to a copy of this resolution, and that it be presented to him in recognition of his services as Mayor of the Borough of Dacorum. May I have a seconder for the motion?
I'm pleased to second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Is the motion agreed?
Agreed.
The next item on the agenda is to appoint a deputy mayor until the appointment of a successor at the annual meeting of the council in 2024. May I have your nominations, please?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I would like to nominate Councillor Brenda Link.
Do I have a seconder?
I will second Councillor Brenda Link.
Thank you. Councillor Brenda Link has been proposed and seconded. Are there any other nominations, please? There are no other nominations. Is it agreed that Councillor Brenda Link be Deputy Mayor? And I think Councillor Tyndall wants to say some words.
It's just, I think everybody knows Brenda. Everybody in Highfield knows Brenda. Brenda is one of those unsung heroes in every community who goes around looking after other people with little regard for herself. She's lived in Hemel Hempstead most of her married life. She's raised a family. She's now looking after grandchildren, but she's still out there on the streets, not only visiting people who are living on their own to make sure they're okay, but also making sure that they've got their supply of Avon, because that's quite important for some people. She's also a regular visitor to Cranfield home, where she is, again, well liked and respected. It doesn't say a lot in the chamber, but you get her on her own, and a great lot of wisdom and good sense comes out of Brenda, and it pays to listen to her and not to discount her. And I have known her for many, many years, and I have no hesitation in thinking that she will be a great support to William in the coming year. I nominate Brenda.
It is unlike Councillor Pringle to not want to say anything, so please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is my absolute privilege to have the opportunity to second Brenda Link for the position of Deputy Mayor. And I've been doing a little bit of background research into Brenda, and during that time I came to realise that if there is one person for whom the phrase "not all heroes wear capes" is written, it is for Brenda Link, because Brenda is a true local hero. I understand from my research that one of Brenda's heroes is actually Elvis, and her family were brought up on a strict diet of Elvis movies. But Brenda's got her own Elvis effect, because when I recently visited Highfield with Brenda, one of her residents spotted Brenda getting into the back of my car and literally ran towards us saying, "Is that Brenda Link?" And they wanted to see her and meet her and thank her for all the work that she does. And that's when I realised that Brenda Link is the superstar of Highfield. And it's the same on the doorsteps. People's faces just light up when you mention Brenda's name. And that's because Brenda Link has the #1 qualification that any politician should have. She loves people, and people love her right back. She is here for her residents, as it should be. The warmth between Brenda and her residents is really something to behold. She knows so much about so many of them and works hard for them behind the scenes, making countless lives better. And Sammy Barry, Brenda's ward mate, has told me of the immense support that Brenda has given her, showing her the ropes as a brand new councillor, bringing on and supporting another woman into politics. And of course, when baby Olive came along, Brenda was a great support to Sammy, and baby Olive even was very pleased, I'm sure, to enjoy modelling some of Brenda's finest yellow knitwear. So Brenda is a people person, as Ron's already mentioned. She was an Avon lady, but I was told even before that she used to deliver the Little Woods pools. And you know, she's one of these people who really does cement her community together, and that's what's really needed in these days when so many people are struggling. She moved to Hemel in the 1960s, where she had her family, Julie, Darren, Jackie, and I understand Carrie, the baby of the family. And it's a testament to, I'm sure her family are immensely proud to be here. Julie and Darren, I know, are sitting in the public gallery. And of course, Carrie is sitting here with us because she was inspired by her mother, her role model, to come in to being a councillor and to follow in her mother's footsteps, which is probably the best testament you can have to your mum. She's always talking about her family. Her face beams with pride when she talks about her children, her grandchildren, and even a few great-grandchildren, although I wasn't quite able to work out how many there are. I'm sure Brenda will tell us later. I understand Brenda's husband was a Welshman living in Fulham, and he moved to Hemel to work for BP. I'm told that Brenda loves bingo, and that one of her funniest memories was when the first time her husband took her to Wales to meet his family, they made her play bingo in Welsh. But she obviously passed the test, and I understand that they had a very, very happy family life. So I'm just really proud, as I say, to be able to second Brenda. I know that she's Deputy Mayor that Hemel will be justly proud of.
Thank you, Councillor Pringle. Is it agreed that Councillor Brenda Link be Deputy Mayor?
Agreed.
I declare that Councillor Brenda Link has been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor.
I, Councillor Brenda Link, having been appointed to the office of Deputy Mayor for the Borough of Dacorum, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties it entails according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as the conduct which is expected as members of the Borough of Dacorum. Thank you. Yeah.
The minutes of the previous meeting of full council will be considered at the next meeting taking place on Wednesday, the 12th of July, 2023. I've received apologies from the Chief Executive, Claire Hamilton, who is being represented by the Deputy Chief Executive, Catherine Silva-Donaire. Can I please ask the group leaders for any apologies? Councillor Tindall.
If I may, Mr Mayor, I would like to present the apologies of Councillor Capozzi and Councillor Mottershead.
Thank you. Councillor Williams.
Apologies on behalf of Councillor Elliott and Councillor Johnson.
And Councillor Pesh.
And no apologies, we're all here.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? I will now receive official announcements and any business brought forward by the Mayor and the Deputy Chief Executive, of which I believe there is none. Thank you. The next agenda item is for the Council to approve the appointment of the Leader, Cabinet, Overview and Scrutiny and Regulatory Committees for 2023 to 24. Can I please receive a nomination for Leader of the Council?
I nominate Councillor Ron Tindall.
Thank you, and do I have a seconder?
I second Councillor Ron Tindall.
Thank you. It is agreed that Councillor Ron Tindall is appointed as the Leader of the Council until the annual meeting of the Council in 2027, unless the term of office is brought to an end earlier in accordance with the Constitution. Is it agreed? I will now pass to Councillor Ron Tindall to introduce the appointment of Deputy Leader, members of the Cabinet and their respective portfolios, and committee membership for 2023 to 24.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. If I may slightly move to say, I would just like to say how much I respect the manner in which the Leader of the Opposition has conducted himself over the past few days. There has always been respect between us. He always paid me the due respect that the office and I intend to do the same with him, and I hope with our new Labour colleagues as well that we will have the same relationship, because Dacorum is known right across Hertfordshire as we don't indulge in the yaboo politics that happens elsewhere. We get on and do the job, and that would be indicated also by the fact that we are asking two of the Conservative councillors to continue in their present roles, quite simply because they are the best people that we have on the council to continue them. So with that, for no further ado, I would like to nominate Adrian England as the Deputy Leader of the Council, that I nominate on the Cabinet, Corporate and Commercial Services, Sally Symington, Housing and Property Services, Simi Dahini, Neighbourhood Operations, Robin Bromhead, Climate Change, Adrian England, Place and Planning, for those who are not sure what place ever means, Sharon Wilkie, People and Transformation, Carol Weston. The full committee membership is as circulated as part of the agenda, copies of which have been circulated to members. Also, the full appointment to outside organisations will come to the next meeting of the full council. In the interim, I propose the following representatives be appointed for the continuation of their good work on behalf of Dacorum. Councillor Jane Timmins, London Luton Airport Consultative Committee, and I praise Jane and support her in her future endeavours to try and stop the expansion of that abortion. If I may continue, Councillor Terry Douris, West Herts Crematorium Joint Committee, and I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to nominate myself as the LGA General Assembly member, but I'll leave that to the legal officer to sort out. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is that agreed?
Mr. Mayor, sorry, just for the sake of clarity, the online version is correct, but the sheets which are printed tonight have one error in terms of the Conservative membership of the Health Scrutiny Committee. It should be Councillor Alex Binder, not Councillor Julie Banks. It was changed by mistake. The original copy did have Alex Binder on, but just so that members are aware. Thank you.
Thank you. And may I applaud the cross-chamber working that puts residents first. Please can I ask members of the Licensing and Health and Safety Enforcement Committee to remain in the Council chamber to agree membership of the subcommittee. That concludes the business of this evening. I now declare the meeting closed. I invite you all to join me on the balcony for drinks and refreshments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's okay, 40 minutes.